Welcome to my messy life. Take my hand and dive right on in with me. It's gonna be alright. Messy imperfect life with Leigh.
So I was walking out of a plastic surgeon's office or walking in, and I passed this fine lady, Carol. No, you can say it out loud. Varon, I kept forgetting. So what I find very interesting about what's about to happen is I don't know shit about, now I want to say Carol, not Varon. I don't know a lot about Carol, but what happened was I think I was going in to get Botox and lip fillers, and you were coming out, or I was coming out and you were going in. What happened?
I was going in, you were coming out.
She was going in, I was coming out, and then why did we stop and talk?
I don't know. I think it was kismet.
So we kismeted. So we stopped and started talking.
Yes.
And I found you very interesting and a kind of a free spirit. And I don't even know actually what I found you, but we exchanged information. And I told you about my podcast. You said, yes. I want to come on. I said, well, then damn it, come on.
I thought it was just so inspiring and so interesting, your podcast.
So what I'm going to do now, because the people who are listening to you don't know you, and neither do I. So I'm going to explore who you are while with me and the viewers or listeners get to learn about you.
Okay.
So who the hell are you?
I am a 73-year-old retired grandmother of 4.
You didn't retire the grandmother of 4 part, did you?
No.
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 What are you retired from?
I was a stylist. I dressed people.
Okay, number 1, you look amazing.
Thank you.
For 74. Really? And you look...
So I should say I'm 73 and a half. Sorry.
Okay, so you're not trustworthy? Is that...
No, I am not.
You're going to make stuff up.
I am. So
you look amazing, and you also look sophisticated with your gray hair.
Thank you.
Yeah, because sometimes people gray hair comes in, and I'm like, it's interesting. And yours is like, of course you should have gray hair.
I think the gray hair, you know what? In other words, when you have, say any other color hair, you can wear any color lipstick, you can wear anything. When you have gray hair, you really have to punch it up a little bit. Otherwise, you look like you belong in the morgue.
That's right, because it just washes in with your skin color, and that's true. I didn't think about that.
It takes everything out. So if women who love to wear like pastels, they have to amp it up a little bit so that the pastel has a little more vibrance to it. Otherwise, they really do look sick.
They look like a washed out postcard?
Yes. And there's nothing interesting about them to look at. I mean, there's no, because everything blends in. The hair blends into the skin, blends into the clothes, and they start to look just like a monochromatic board.
Who did you dress? What kind of people?
Mostly socialites in Beverly Hills.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So did you go shop for them and bring them clothes, or what happened?
I shopped for them. I worked in their closets. I had clothes made for them by designers.
You have relationships with designers?
I did.
Who back in the day?
Oh, back in the day. Let's see. A lot of people at Chanel, especially like having things made and special things brought in from Karl Lagerfeld.
Well, you said he designed your wedding, your dress for your daughter's wedding?
Yes.
And you knew him and he designed it, or one of his designers?
I think the design came from him personally, but yes, it came out of the factory. I was the only one to get that dress.
Because you're that special.
I felt that special.
Well, then you felt it. That's how you owned it, girl.
I really did. And then Christian Dior made my daughter's dress.
Oh,
it was really beautiful.
You have giant diamonds in your ear holes.
Yes.
And a giant diamond on your ring finger.
Yes.
Where did you get those?
I bought them.
You bought them, or your man?
This is my 3rd diamond.
That means your 3rd wedding? I mean, marriage?
No, first marriage. The first one was just not me. So finally, we had enough money and I bought a bigger diamond, a pear-shaped diamond. And I wore it and I wore it and wore it. And then I decided I don't really want to wear this pear-shaped diamond anymore. So I looked for a year because I wanted a Belgium cut round diamond. And I finally found it. I had someone who brought it over from Belgium and everything. And I gave my daughter the other diamond.
Oh, does she like that?
She wears it.
Is that her wedding ring?
Yes.
Oh, that's sweet.
I've given my daughter a lot of stuff because I thought if you wait until you die for your children to have your possessions, you never see them enjoy them.
Oh, that's so true. I had a thought when my dad died and people stood up and said the most beautiful things I've ever heard about him and things that he'd done for people I never knew about. I thought his ass should be sitting next to me hearing these in person. Like you're doing with your daughter. You get to experience the gift of passing on your jewelry.
Yes, because why wait? I mean, I gave her, I forget for what birthday now, I had a gold and diamond Rolex watch. And I gave it to her because I wanted her to have it. And a couple years ago, I gave my son one of my stainless steel Rolex watches. I mean, I don't have any anymore, but I gave it to my son. I wanted to see him wear it because I don't understand people that are so selfish with their things that they want to keep them until you'll get it when I die. Well, who cares then? Don't you want to see your children enjoy all this stuff and love it and be happy? I don't get that mentality.
Where were you raised?
I was born in New York. I was raised actually in Inglewood, California.
Wow. So what were your parents like? Were you wealthy? Were you born into money?
No.
Because you seem like a person who was born into money.
No money. My father worked for, I forgot what the name of the company was now. Not used aircraft. No, my father was a genius. He worked for North American Aviation, and he invented a lot of stuff that was on the Apollo.
Wow.
Right. So every time I go to DC and I go in that museum, I go and stand with the astronauts just to honor my dad.
Oh.
And he was just such a brilliant person.
You loved him.
Very much. Very much. And my mother, not so much.
That's usually the dynamic. Girls love their daddies and their mothers are like the hags that pissed them off all the time.
I think my mother never saw me.
Oh.
She never really saw me.
And that's what we need when we're little, is to be seen. That's how we know we matter.
Right. And I didn't. I was just the extra. I was the first child, but it was my brother. And I didn't really ever resent my brother for it. But I resented my mother.
Yeah.
She and she couldn't understand it when she got older and older. She couldn't understand why I wasn't there all the time. And it was because I had no connection with her.
I understand that.
Yeah. And it was sad. For me, it was sad. I mean, when she ended up in the hospital at the very end, my brother, who's a doctor, was on a cruise in Alaska. My mother lived in Orange County. I went down there and stayed in the hospital with her for the week. I was very lucky it was a Catholic hospital, and they slowly, they didn't,
gave her higher doses so
yes.
she could rest and not feel the pain when
yes.
she slipped into the next part of her soul's journey.
I've done that, and even with my father, when my father died of complications of surgery.
That sucks. That's unexpected.
Yeah. And I stayed in the hospital with him for about a week. And it was my birthday, January 8th. And I said, Daddy, I'm going to start to cry. It's time to go. Oh. I said, I'm going to the bathroom. And when I came out, he was gone.
Oh, where's Kleenex, Ben? Don't just sit there taking notes like a good producer does.
So that's that's hard for me.
Oh, yeah. What part's hard for you?
I think that he was not that old. Oh,
it was hard for you to lose him. I thought you were talking about how come you walked out after you said it's time to go? You didn't want to see that part?
No, I was going into the bathroom, okay. And I said to him, I whispered in his ear, Daddy, it's time to go. When I came out of the bathroom, he was gone. Wow. Yeah.
So you kind of gave him a little permission to go.
Yeah.
Oh, I love how much you love your daddy. I love mine too a lot.
Yep.
Mine died sudden in his sleep.
It's just very difficult. See, I'm going to start to cry.
How long ago was it? A long time ago? I love crying, by the way.
I love crying too, but the makeup doesn't love it.
Luckily, the camera's far enough away.
I'm trying to think. My dad probably died, I don't know, 18 years ago, something like that. I still miss him.
Yeah. It is weird when things happen. Like I remember when 9/11 happened, I called my dad. I said, Dad, a thing just went to the Trade Center, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, holy shit. But he was a doctor and he was with patients in the office. And then I called him back. I was like, Dad, a second one went. And then he turned it on. He said, we're at war. Because he was a doctor for the Navy. And my grandfather was a fighter pilot.
My brother was a doctor for the Navy.
Really?
Yes.
You know what's weird is we were stationed in Yuma, Arizona, and my dad was in the Navy, but that's the like hottest area in the whole world. Like I don't understand how the Navy base got to Yuma, Arizona.
I don't either.
That's how I was born there. But anyway.
Yeah.
They were both Navy doctors.
Yes. Now, although my brother really wasn't a Navy doctor, here's the thing. My brother graduated from medical school and went to work for the CDC, Center for Disease Control. He did the work on AIDS and toxic shock, all that stuff. He went to Africa for AIDS, did all this stuff. Anyways, at that time, in order to work at the CDC, you had to be a member of the armed forces. So he picked the Navy. So once a year, my brother, who never practiced medicine, they sent him to a naval base to practice medicine. It was hysterical. It was funny.
So wait, he was trained in practicing medicine.
Oh, sure.
But then he went to CDC, which is just research.
Right. He was an infectious disease doctor. He's a doctor. Plus, he's got went
Specialized
on to infectious disease. Yes. And he's been very helpful to me because I've had 2 infectious diseases that I've never figured out. Both were foodborne illnesses. I ate somewhere. Nobody else got sick. The last time I was probably, I'm trying to think, 7, 8 years ago, I ended up in Cedars-Sinai, bleeding out. And they had me on, I was hallucinating. I saw snakes crawling up the wall. Just you name it, I saw it. I tried to escape from the hospital with my IVs. That was interesting.
So some drug they gave you had psychotic episodes?
No, it was the infection.
Illness. Wow.
Yep. And they said, finally, with everybody that came in and looked at me, they finally said, they're not going to figure out exactly what bacteria you have, but you will be cured. But
yay.
Yeah, it was strange.
Because right now there's bacteria that are killing little kids because they went swimming in a lake.
I know, that's horrible, isn't it?
And they said, well, remember, if you get in a lake, use a nose plug and keep your head above water. No one does either of those things ever. But they just swam in a lake and they're dead.
Did no one ever check the lake for the toxicity level of the water?
I think a lot of people swim in them, and just like 1% get this thing. And out of the 145 people who have gotten it, only 5 have survived.
So sort of that was like me. I went to lunch with 2 friends. They were perfectly fine. And by 5 a.m, I had to call the paramedics to come and get me.
Isn't that weird?
It was so strange. How come it happened to me?
Well, there's a reason. But that's my whole thing with this podcast is that this messy stuff happens. But it only happens to teach us something. And then when we can get the message of it, not only can we not have to repeat that again because we learned why it came, but then we can use it to help other people, speaking about it or writing about it or sharing the story.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think, if you had to think of something, what did that teach you? Have you gotten to the learning of it yet?
I think it taught me that not to take life for granted. It's short. If you love somebody, you have to tell them. You have to hug them.
I love you, Ben.
I love you too.
You have to
I love you, Carol.
Thank you. I love you too, Leigh. You just have to really do it. An interesting a little bit about love. When my children were little, we took them to the surf and sand.
How many kids?
2.
Boy and a girl?
Boy and a girl.
Which one's your favorite?
They're both. I love them both dearly.
Okay, go on.
My son lives in Seattle. He works he's creative director at Microsoft. And when they were little, and my daughter lives very close to here, we used to take them to the surf and sand every summer. And we'd spend a week to 10 days there with them. And, go in the water, go into town, do all these fun things with them.
Where's Surf and Sun?
Laguna Beach.
Oh, nice.
It's a fabulous hotel. It's right on the water.
Oh, I got to take my kids.
Oh, God, they'll love it. Anyways, you never know the effect it's going to have on your children. You do all these things and you don't know. I get a call from my son. He says, Mom, I've made a reservation. I'm going to take Layla for a week bonding at the Surf and Sand, and you and Daddy are coming for 3 days.
Oh.
So until you never really know until your children do for their children what you did for them.
That's so interesting. I love that. So beautiful that you got that kind of acknowledgement back from your son. And I've talked a lot on my podcast just that my mom was mentally ill and locked behind her bedroom door. And we didn't have anything that was a family tradition or with other family members outside, celebrations or get-togethers. It was just us with her. And my dad would take us to the lake of the Ozarks. He had some little boat, and he'd pull us, the 6 kids by himself, to the lake of the Ozarks to teach us to ski. And I can remember those times so vividly and how much it meant to me to feel like we were a family. We were doing something like other families. Now, my marriage right now with Dave, we never really established this family trip kind of thing. And 3 years ago, I took the kids to Mexico. Dave didn't come with the kids out of town. I just planned this trip to Mexico, and we went to Cabo. We had the time of our lives. And then last year, we went, Dave came, it was not as fantastic. This year, I'm taking him again, just me and the kids, because I realized when you get away with all the kids, there's something magical that happens. They're not in their bedrooms. They're not on their phones. They're in the ocean together. And to see them together like that, it's so beautiful. So I told him this year, because my husband's always saying, we don't have enough. You can't spend money on that. But I just decided to break those thoughts with this, because this is what's most important for me to invest in, is to make these space for my kids. And they're getting older. But I'm taking him in December to Cabo, and they're talking about it already. And my son's like, I've been working out, when we go to Cabo, I'm going to have my 6-pack. They're just talking about it, so excited. And I'm so touched to my heart to create something like that for them, that they can do the same.
Yes. And they will do that. They will do that for their children. My daughter who lives here, has 2 boys. Now one's 17 and Gavin is 10.
Who's your daughter?
Jessica Varon.
I'm just wondering if...
Jessica Varon Shenson, I should say
afterwards, show me a photo of her. I want to see if I know her from my hood.
Okay.
Because we're kids the same age.
Yeah. And my oldest grandson, Dylan, from the time he was an infant, he slept over. And this year he's graduating. And we took him away every spring break. Oh, no, we took him away for Christmas. That's right. For Christmas, New Year's, Christmas, not the Christmas part, the New Year's, to the desert. Every year we go and get the hats that said whatever the year was.
So there's 2 kids, but you only took 1?
Right, because Gavin wasn't around for a long time.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So now we all go. Last year we all went.
Yeah.
But it was so special. I'm so close to him. And because I had so much time alone with him, such one-on-one time. And I remember his favorite song was Rockin' Robin. So I'm going to do all the words to Rockin' Robin, have that put on a sheet of paper. And he loved Thomas the Train, so I've saved some of that. And when he graduates, I'm going to give him this big box full of all these things that meant so much to me.
That's so beautiful. What a great idea. What a loving idea.
One year he wanted to be underdog. So I made him an underdog uniform,
costume.
Yes. And I saved it. And that's going to go in the box.
Oh, wow. What a treasure chest.
Yeah.
How amazing. And when he becomes like a grown-ass man and has his own kids, can you imagine when you're 50 opening that back up and being able to jump right back into your childhood with those beautiful things?
I think it's just wonderful memories. People want things, and the things that are the most important are the memories of all of what you do, where you go.
Yeah, because if you think your house burns down, What would you miss? It's the photos before we had them on our phone.
Yes.
And the books that we made showing the journey of our lives.
I have my photos. My office is covered. One whole wall is family pictures that I've taken, others taken. In my room, my bedroom, my husband and I have separate bedrooms.
Why?
He snores.
Did you build a second bedroom, or did you say, I get the master, get your ass down to Sally's room?
No, we're in a duplex in the city, so it was just there. There were 3 bedrooms. He wanted an office. I have an office too, which I really don't need except I have the furniture.
When did you move into a duplex?
We left the Valley probably, I'm trying to think, 20-something years ago. And I had a reason for leaving the Valley. I got terrible migraine headaches. We lived in Woodland Hills, up against the mountains. And every month I'd end up in West Hills Hospital, getting shot up with Demerol.
Demerol?
Yeah, for the pain, for the headache. And it wasn't out.
Oh, for the migraines.
Yes. And I went to the guy, Dr. Racheliski at UCLA. He said I wasn't allergic to one thing. It was the wind. The Israelis discovered it. It was the way the wind, the molecules bounced off the mountains or bounced off buildings that caused me to get the migraines. So
it wasn't just normal migraine person headaches?
It was bad. I used to go to the hospital. And they were not nice to me sometimes. And I would say to them, I'm going to throw up. And they'd say, go sit down. And I'd say, no, I'm going to stand right here. And I threw up on them.
You held your ground, sister.
I did. I said, please give me the shot and put me in the dark room. It's already been 3 days and I'm worn out.
Yeah. I got migraines till I was 13, and I think mine was stress induced. But I would have to have complete silence, lights off.
Yes.
No lights, no talking, and puked anyway.
I put ice on the back of my head and a wet washcloth on the front of my head.
You know what's neat about Botox? Besides, it makes my forehead look like I'm 36, and yours too, is that it helps with migraines.
It does help a little, but most migraines actually come from the back. That's where they inject you. And because they injected me once, I wanted to try and see if it worked. It didn't.
You thought it would just pull your face tighter backwards?
No. I did. I wanted to get rid of the headaches, and they did the Botox in the back.
So you've had a facelift, right?
I've had 2.
2 facelifts. So how old were you when you got your... My dad used to be a plastic and reconstructive before he passed away. So,
Here?
No, in Kansas City.
Oh, Kansas City. Okay.
But Kansas City, he was more reconstructive.
Yeah.
But to me, plastic surgery was what my dad did. It's like if your dad's a carpenter or plumber, you don't say, I hate plumbing, it's bad. You say, it works for some people and it saves lives and all kinds of stuff that he did that was great.
Yeah.
But anyway, so plastic surgery is like, of course I'm going to get it. That's what my dad did. But he died. And I'm not ready yet. I'm still good with just fillers. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so tell me, how old were you when you got your first?
Oh, geez, I've done a lot of stuff. I don't really remember. I got a facelift, and I really don't think I needed it, but I didn't want anyone to know that I had in other words, I didn't want it to be such a drastic change that people would say to me,
wow.
What'd you do?
Yeah.
So I went and had it done, and that one lasted a long time.
Did it turn out good?
Fabulous. And then the second one.
Were you around 50?
Probably around 48, 49, 50, yes. And then I had a second mini.
A mini means they just pull your cheek area to back.
Yeah, yes. It's not as deep. They don't go into all the, where all the scar tissue is. I never wanted to look younger than my age. I just always wanted to look the best I could for the age I was.
Oh, I like that. It's not about looking younger. It's about feeling good at where you are.
Right. Because people that try to look younger look like they're trying to look younger.
Yeah.
But if you try to look your age and be quote unquote age appropriate, I think it works out well.
You know what's so funny? I don't try to be quote unquote anything, and I don't give a shit what anyone says about how things should be. I could care less.
Yes.
I don't even know what's even being said about what's right now. I do exactly what fills me up. I do exactly what brings me joy, which includes Botox and lip fillers, but also eating healthy, exercising, meditating, all of it brings me joy.
I don't do lip fillers. I can't do them.
That's because you have giant lips.
I tried it once.
Your upper lip looks like it's loaded with lip filler.
No, nothing.
I mean, it is gorgeous. I almost think that you're lying again. First, it was your half age, and your brother wasn't really a doctor.
No, he is really a doctor.
No, he wasn't really a medical doctor.
Right.
He should be
He is a
practicing with the
medical
Navy.
doctor. He is a medical doctor.
I know.
But he wasn't actually. Okay, here's the thing.
But your upper lip is giant.
Thank you. That's because shall I tell the story? Okay. When I was in my 30s, I had reconstructive surgery because when I smiled, Dr. Frank Kamer, who was my dear, dear friend and plastic surgeon at the time, I was written up in the medical journal. He did a surgery on me, experimental surgery, where he took my lip, half of it down apart, and sutured it to my gums so that when I smiled, my gums didn't show. Because before,
did you have giant gums?
Yes, and my gums showed, and my mouth never looked right, and so he did that, and I was. Yeah, it was it was great. It changed my whole life.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
Probably because you were holding a lot of judgments about your gums. And the second that was covered or disguised or something, you had freedom to let that judgment go because you didn't have that anymore.
Right.
You were lighter.
Right. Because I was scared to smile.
Well, that sucks.
I know. I mean,
but when people do have big gums, I always notice it. Not that I think it's bad or good. I just like, oh, wow, they are very gummy.
Yeah, because most people aren't. No. So that's why my upper lip looks so full.
Was that your first surgery? Because you were young then, right?
In my 30s.
Oh, no, I thought you were like 19.
Oh, no. I didn't have anything done nothing done until I got married. My mother was not, that wouldn't have worked with my mother.
Yeah. So earlier you talked about your different rings. Have you been married to the same guy?
Yes.
Wow. How many years?
51.
Holy shit. Congratulations, or I'm sorry. Which one is it?
It's sort of congratulations and I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry. There's something beautiful about committing to one person. And there's also something that I have recently discovered is very... holding yourself back to commit to one person. If you're growing in different ways,
it's really
because
hard.
Then you're no longer partners, and you're like, this actually is a disservice. We're no longer partners. But if you still have something that you love and hold hands, and you're literally holding hands, but if you have something that keeps you together, that's interesting and still fills your heart, kick ass.
Yeah, I think you know what? It's family. In other words, it's so lovely to do family things, and once you're not together. And I think family is the best above anything. So that's what keeps us together. But we do sleep in separate bedrooms because the snoring.
Have you ever made out with somebody else while you were married?
No, but I've been asked. Oh, my God.
Well, I was going to ask you today.
Oh, I'd love to.
Okay. So you're open to a lesbian experience?
Absolutely.
I haven't had one before.
I haven't either, but it must be good.
We could experiment.
Okay.
I mean, with that upper lip, I might be game. Okay, so you stay with him, and yeah, I don't want to get too personal. I'm just interested. 50 years is a long time with one penis.
Yeah. The thing is, when I married him, he looked like Neil Diamond. I mean, exactly like Neil Diamond. Now he looks like, I don't know.
A sack of potatoes?
No.
With hair?
Sort of like a balloon that you pumped up.
Does he still have the same hair?
Not much.
Okay, so he lost the Neil Diamond hair.
Oh, God.
And he inflated his body.
Oh, God. Yes.
Do you still have sex?
No.
When did that stop?
14 years ago.
Well, how do you remember the exact time?
Because we moved. That's when we moved.
So you were getting it on when you were in the valley, even though you had to get shots for headaches.
Right.
And then you went to no sex and then Beverly Hills. Which is better, headaches and sex or Beverly Hills?
I do mix the sex.
I do. Yeah.
I really do. But it just wasn't working. I mean, I got to the point
Don't you think you should still be touched and kissed and held and...
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I do.
Because you're alive still.
I do.
So are you looking for a male gigolo, or are you just deciding you're not going to fulfill that part?
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I have a lot of men friends.
Would they kiss you if you wanted them to?
Oh, sure.
You're that fucking hot.
I think, I don't know. I just try to work it out whatever way I can to live the best life that I can.
Yeah, so I'm just telling you, that part of you needs some attention.
It does.
Yeah. You can either say, inflated loved one, come to me and rub my vagina like this, or...
okay, so I was talking about, I have a lot of men that follow me on Instagram. And one guy is a cinematographer, is Indian, and he's just crazy about me. I mean, a little too crazy about me. Anyway, so...
I don't think there's such a thing.
He's going to be filming in Canada. And finally, to quiet it down, I said I'd meet him there for a couple days. But I want my own room. I need my own space. But he just...
Are you going to?
Go there?
Yeah.
I probably will.
When? Is it sooner or why he's off?
No, it's going to be in the sort of in the winter time.
That's really exciting.
He's going to fly in from India. He's 37 years old.
Shut the front door. Really, I usually say the F word, but he's 37. Mm-hmm. And how old are your kids?
45 and 44.
So he's younger than both of your kids.
Yes.
You know, I'm a big believer in you do what floats your boat, and no numbers matter. It's your heart and what you need in that moment from that person. But that's a trip. How many years apart are you guys? I can't do math.
Let's see. I'm 73.
Ben, 73 minus, how old is he?
I think he's 39.
He's 39. I think you said 37.
Or 37, 39.
37.
He's in his late 30s. The only thing that, I mean, I've had some very weird experiences in Beverly Hills, too.
Like what?
Walking down the street to go to a doctor's office in just normal clothes. I'm walking, and across the street, I see this gorgeous guy, and he's walking. And I'm walking, and he's walking. And I'm walking. And I get to the corner where Neiman Marcus is, and all of a sudden, he's crossing the street. And he starts talking to me. Hello, how are you? He's French, beautiful, beautiful man.
I love the French language.
And he asked me if I wanted to go to lunch.
Do you say si, merci?
Well, I had a doctor's appointment.
Si or we?
But I
Si is Spanish.
Gracias. Gracias, Ben.
Anyway, so I said to him, you know, how old are you? And he told me 39, and I said, well, my children are, you know, in their 40s, whatever. I said, I think you see sort of something happening, and I think you would kill me. That's basic.
Did he get an immediate erection?
I wasn't looking at that.
That's kind of ego thing for a guy. You would kill me, all your manhood.
13. Who did he think I was? I mean, I don't look his age.
A hot woman who's strutting her stuff, who knows who she is.
Well, anyways.
No, acknowledge what I said. Yes, I'm a hot woman strutting her stuff, and I know who I am. Say it.
I am. I think I am. I feel like I am.
Then you are.
But it's crazy. It all started to happen when I let my hair go long again.
So you had short hair?
Yes.
Did you have short gray hair?
I had short, dark hair.
Back then?
Yes. Well, I had long, short, you know.
And then when you grew it out, it was still long and dark?
No. I decided to go gray. But this was a long time ago. I didn't even know anybody with gray hair.
Yeah. So you were gray when he was talking to you?
Long gray hair when this guy was talking to me.
Long gray hair's pretty. You do it sexy too, because you sass it around. It's like your accessory.
It's because I love it. It's because it's more than hair, I think.
It is.
Yes, I think it's just a part of who I am, and I think it's as important as everything else on my body.
Yeah.
So when I let my hair grow gray, the first time I had like a pixie. So I let it grow gray, and I kept looking in the mirror and thinking, oh my God, this looks absolutely hideous. So
that does not sound cute.
I know. So I dyed it. And once you go gray or light or blonde or anything, and then you dye your hair back to dark, dark brown, I look like I belonged in a mausoleum. So that...
Wait, why? What does that mean?
Well, my skin is pale. The hair is...
It's a mausoleum where you die?
Well, they bury you there.
Oh, okay. Because I was for a second thinking of a church. I was like, wait, what is mausoleum?
No. It's like...
So you're back to looking like death.
Oh, God. And it's like the men in Japan. Everybody in Japan, every man in Japan, they could be 105, has black hair.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, they color their hair. They think it makes them look younger.
Oh, I get it. So what do you think about that?
I think it's ridiculous.
They should all be gray?
No, they should.
I do like some people gray, though. Like a man with a nice head of hair and it's gray, to me now is so sexy.
Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. But the thing is...
Especially if they have cool little round glasses or something.
Oh, my God. You should see these guys on Instagram. They're hot. All the models. You should look up all the models with gray hair, men models with gray hair.
Really?
Oh, my God. They're all built. And they've got... Oh, my God. They're absolutely amazing.
So let me get this. When you have special time by yourself, do you snuggle in bed and look at the gray-haired men of Instagram?
Sometimes.
Do any of those hot men follow you?
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm. So when you're talking openly about possibly going to Canada, could you say to your man, I want to be kissed and hugged and touched, and I'm going to find someone to do that?
I don't think I would say it.
But it'd be okay to do it and just not say anything because there's an understanding?
I think probably so. I mean, I just, because I don't know if what would happen. In other words, I don't know if I went, when I go, if anything is going to happen or something is going to happen. So why
start something where there's nothing?
Right.
But you are flying to see another fella.
Yes.
I mean, if fella's flying in from India and wants to see your ass in a hotel, I don't think it's going to show you a film he previously did.
No. He's flying into Canada to work. He's shooting. They're shooting something in.
Right.
In Ontario. So he's flying with another photographer to shoot something. That's fine. That's fine. I mean,
I'm going to take it one day at a time, and yeah. And I don't even know why I'm asking that. I was just curious, or maybe people listening were curious about it. But I do believe that there is nothing to talk about unless there's something to talk about. If I intend to do something, I think I would share it. But I don't know.
I my intention is to go and meet him, and nothing really more. I mean, what I really want to do is be friends with him. It's him that's pushing the relationship.
Well, that's what I mean. So he's flying in, wants to see you, he's going to probably get you a hotel room, and he wants to make out with you. And you're interested in going for a meet and greet and coffee.
Yes, I am.
I don't really buy it.
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, this is
You're
all
just
new.
open to the opportunity.
This all happened today.
You're going to go, that happened, and then you came on a podcast.
Yes.
And I'm grilling you about it. You're like, I don't know. It's so new. I haven't thought it through.
I haven't, I could not get him off of Instagram.
Well, actually, you can just like swipe and hit delete
I know, but he kept coming back with stuff.
So, you know, what's interesting is I think it's fun that you're exploring it because that's what life's about, is being curious and exploring and being open to new people. And
I mean, what is the worst thing that can happen?
You have a glass of wine by yourself watching a movie in a hotel in Vancouver? I mean, Canada, wherever you're going?
Yeah, Ontario. Yeah. I mean, nothing. There's nothing.
What's the best thing that could happen?
The best thing that could happen is that he'll just really love me for who I am, and I will love him for who he is, and nothing much physical will happen. I really don't think that.
So how will you guys in that short 2 days get to where he really loves you for who you are and you for who he is, and he has to take pictures of that stuff?
Oh, well, I'm probably going to come up right at the end of filming.
Oh, so you can just hang a little bit. And you want him to really love you and you really to love him, who you guys are. Why?
Because he's such a sweet person.
On Instagram?
Yeah. He's just sweet. I mean, he's a sweet, kind person. He's been following me for a long time. No.
What's your handle on Instagram? Is it Carol?
It's Varon Carol.
Varon, show last name first. Veron.
Varon.
Don't ask
Carol.
me. Say it again.
VaronCarol.
So if you want to check out her Instagram, people, you got it right there. It's her name backwards.
I have a lot of selfies.
And you can see all her selfies that are attracting men from all over the world to want to get on her. I did not mean to say get on her. That was really, really bad. Tough hucker. No, you're interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are.
Did you not expect me to be interested?
Well, I can't. I have short-term memory recall. So I knew that I met someone and asked her, and I knew she was older and she had gray hair, and she liked that she had gray hair. And I said, come on the podcast, but then I forgot, like I do. And then I looked at your photo. I was like, yes, I remember her. And then you're here, but you're more fantastic than I figured. But I knew it was going to be fun since I didn't know one thing about you.
And now you know more than you ever wanted to know, right?
Oh, no, there's still so much.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
There's still so much. So I am curious just a little bit more about your life. So grew up in, I know you were in New York and then you went to
Inglewood, California.
How did you end up in Inglewood?
Because my dad was working for North American Aviation, doing a lot of stuff up for the Apollo mission.
Is Inglewood, is that kind of in the hood? I'm not positive.
Okay, when I lived there, it was lily white. Now it's totally in the hood.
I don't like lily white. I like diversity. But
there was no diversity.
Is it kind of in a rough neighborhood now? I don't know.
Now, yes.
It's a rough neighborhood?
Yes. And I went to, it's interesting. I went to, the schools there were fabulous. And my high school, Morningside High School, was like a college campus. It had no fences, nothing. It was a beautiful, beautiful school. It was amazing.
Is it still there? Mm-hmm. Has it changed? Does it have a fence up?
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, even when I go back to Kansas City, that I lived at 103rd and Metcalf, and that was kind of the end of the city. The last thing was 110th. Now they're at 175th.
Wow.
And that was all just where we would ride horses. And it's just so weird. It's built up and it's beautiful, magnificent, but it's just a trip from where we came from to what it becomes.
Everything changed. Nothing stays the same.
Everything's impermanent.
It is.
I love that so much.
I do too.
Because it frees you up when you really know everything's impermanent. You can know if someone gets ill and dies, or if you get a divorce, or if you get fired from your job. Of course, because change is the thing that opens us up to new things.
Yes.
And learning from whatever just closed down makes us stronger. And then we're open to something beautiful. Had that not happened, like when people get fired and all of a sudden they were doing something that they love for fun, and now it's their work, so they're not working a day in their life. It's like the most beautiful things come from the ebbs and flow of life.
I agree. Well, my daughter went to Syracuse, and she had a job before she got out of college, and she was a registered dietitian. She was hired at Cedars before she even got out. And my son, who had a you live your lifetime with a learning disability, went to college, went skiing, went to college, went snowboarding, went to college, I don't know where he went, had short hair, had dreadlocks, had you name it, he went through it because of the learning disability. And then all of a sudden he went to San Francisco State and he graduated. Yay. And he wanted to be a photographer. And so we started off that way. And being in San Francisco, he ended up going into advertising and winning all sorts of awards. He did a design that was the whole Singapore airport.
Wow.
Did a lot of stuff for Nike.
Cool.
Yeah. And
it's interesting the paths they have to take to get to where they're supposed to be.
Yes.
And when we fret that when you told me he wanted to be a photographer after you paid for 4 years of university, I'm like, screw that. Just start shooting. By the time you'll graduate, you'll have a portfolio out your ass.
He did. Oh, he was good. The thing is that he did all this work in advertising, and I thought he was going to stay in advertising because he won whatever the pencil was and this award and that award. Anyway, okay. All of a sudden, Microsoft comes after him. And he's the creative director there.
Holy Toledo.
Not the head one, but he's one of the creative directors, yes.
That's elite. I mean, that's amazing to get in such a giant.
And he's been there now, I think, I think almost 10 years.
Is he married as well?
He is married to Kira, and they have two adorable children, Layla, who's named after my mother, Lil, and Ben.
Ben, that's your name.
And little.
Ben
so I have
too.
grandchildren all the way from 17 to 2.5.
I have children from 17 to 8.
God love you.
No, I'm sorry. I forgot one. 20 to 8. So when I'm your age, my daughter, my last one, will have just graduated college.
Oh, God.
Isn't that a trip?
It is.
I was like, oh, wow, this is kind of having a kid late thing means that they're with you until you about go into the grave.
I just felt that, mine were gone in a short period of time because my kids were only 15 months apart.
Wow.
Well, I know it wasn't
almost Irish twins. Are you Jewish?
Yes.
That's Jewish twins.
Okay, it wasn't my fault. What happened was...
You had nothing to do with that, I'm sure.
Right.
What do you mean, right?
Here's what happened. I had my daughter. And
the old-fashioned one.
And I said to the doctor, Dr. Cadner, who's, I don't know if he's still alive or not. I said, do you think I should go on birth control pills? He said, are you crazy? It took you forever to get pregnant. Don't go on birth control pills. Yeah. So I've got kids 15 months apart.
Did you cry when you found out you were pregnant?
I was in shell shock. I mean...
Because it's so hard at the beginning with a newborn and figuring out what to do and missing out on your old life because you're isolated with this baby who can't move and you have to be with all the time.
It was hard. It was really hard. Then, we had... My husband would go to the market and he'd have to get 2 different kinds of diapers, 2 different kinds of formula. I mean, it was really nuts. And I had the double stroller and all this kind of stuff. I mean, and people looked at me like, doesn't she know about birth control? I mean,
like, yes, but my doctor doesn't.
It was really funny. I mean, it was the last thing I expected in the world.
Did you want to have kids?
Always.
You always wanted to?
Yes, always. Now, I always wanted to. And I always wanted a boy and a girl.
Wow, man, you manifested some serious stuff.
I know.
I always wanted to get married and have a bunch of kids. I actually didn't know that until a few of my childhood friends said, oh, yeah, you always said I'm going to get married and have a bunch of kids. I don't remember longing for that, but it happened.
And so it came true.
It came true.
I know. I think things do come true if you put out the positive energy and you just feel it.
That's the big thing is I taught I did like a little 4-part series. I did a vision board one and then creating an ideal scene around it, then taking an action step and then setting up a little spiritual plan to keep you in line with this new way of being instead of falling into the old patterns. But one I didn't do that I should add to that series is feeling it. Because what happens when you feel, like one of my things on my thing was speaking in front of a sold out theater. And so I did a thing where I closed my eyes and I pictured what I had on and I saw what the crowd looked like and what the theater looked like and who was backstage with me, my friends, before I went on, and the music that was playing. And when I walked out and I was dancing, and it was just so alive and felt so wonderful. And I did my thing, whatever, and came off, and it was just such a beautiful knowing of what's coming for me. But in our brains, they don't know the difference between real and make-believe. So in my brain, it's already happened, which allows me to own it more instead of wishing or hoping for it.
Right.
I know it's coming. I've already experienced it in my mind. My mind knows it's already happened.
Yeah.
So I just have to get the rest of me into it, meaning break all the tethers and the fearful thoughts and the stuff that holds us back, the bullshit lies that keep us from just fully going all the time, which I'm doing right now. I'm actually doing all the things I wanted to do. But I just know I didn't for a long time because it was parts of me that still needed to
be protected.
Or to be let go, or to be filled with love, or to be cutting the tethers,
I think people are scared of who they really are sometimes. And they're not willing to let the true person inside come out because they're scared that either they'll be ridiculed or shamed. And I think it's important to be your authentic self.
And when I am my authentic self, I get shamed and ridiculed and comments and people call their concern about me or my behavior, but I'm really just living how I want to live. So all those things do happen. But the glory is when you get to the point where you say thank you to them because you know they mean well.
Yes.
But you know it does not serve you. And so you say, well, thank you for feeling comfortable enough to give me your feedback. And then I just say to myself, I don't welcome it in my body. So I let them speak their mind. I acknowledge them for speaking up. And I'm happy. I always say I'm happy. I'm upset if someone's not talking about me, good or bad. Because when I live fully, it's pretty full. And it rocks a lot of people's worlds because they don't live that way. And then they go into judgment and then they gossip about me. And then I hear their gossiping. I'm like, all right, I'm being authentically me.
Yes.
How wonderful.
Yes.
So I find that kind of negative talk liberating. And then I send love to the people who are judging because that comes from lack. And we're displacing our stuff on other people. So I say a prayer and I'm proud of myself that I am unapologetically who I am, which is an awful lot. Crazy shit, drinks, spirituality, high kick splits, and loving my family. So I like all of it.
And you should.
Yeah. Because
you're being who you really are.
Yeah.
And I think when we're who we really are meant to be, then we feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
Maybe it's only filled to here and we have a little bit more to go. But I think authenticity is so important and not to do things just because people say it should be that way or could be that way or whatever. It's just to do what
anytime you hear the word should, I just want to giggle to myself. It's such a limiting bullshit word. And I've heard people go, you shouldn't should all over your plate, all over yourself. I can't remember what the saying is right now, but it's something about don't should all over yourself. So quit saying I should have done this. You did what you were supposed to do, which was the thing that was supposed to happen. Why? Because it happened.
Yeah.
Learn from it. Never second guess or beat yourself up.
I think people, not everyone, but there's a lot of people who are very judgmental and feel that they have to impart their wisdom on you.
Yeah.
And in doing that, they feel self-righteous and it doesn't do the person they told any good.
Judgment is one of the lowest energy levels. A love, abundance, the energy level of God is all up here.
Yep.
Judgment and gossip are the lowest, and anger, and physical abuse. Like they're all the lowest form of energy. So anytime somebody comes at me with judgment or I hear somebody speaking of another person, I first say a prayer for them because I know they're hurting. Because when you feel damn good about yourself and you are in your element, you love everyone. You love yourself. You love everyone around you.
That's right.
When you feel lack, you see lack. Or you point it or project it on others. Or if somebody's doing something, I know the time I've been triggered by women, they're standing up and doing something funny as shit. And my judgment's like, wish they'd sit the frick down. We're in the middle of a frickin' class. Really, I'm pissed it's not me doing it. And I'm mad at them that they're doing what I want to do. And they're doing it maybe better than me. So I have judgment. Or that person's not that funny. Yeah, they're pretty damn funny. I just feel triggered because I wish I was
right
in that space.
You didn't get up. You didn't at that point in your life. You weren't able to do that.
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
I am, but they're stealing the show bigger than I ever have, and I'm like, wait a second. I thought I was the star of this freaking spiritual class, And then I realized that those feelings have nothing to do with the other person, right. And that's when I teach about ownership, owning your shit. When you own your shit, you have a happy life. You realize every time you finger point, this is where you should be pointing back to yourself.
That's right.
And every time you hurt, you find that hurt and you go apply loving to it. And I think that's what true healing is applying loving to the places that hurt inside.
You know what? I hadn't thought of it that way, but that's right. Yes.
Yes. I learned that actually in my spirit school from Ron and Mary Holnick. The teachers I went to USM and got my master's in spiritual psychology, and they taught that. I was going to claim it as my own, but it's just a disservice because they were so wonderful.
Yeah, I think that, you know what? People just think not everyone, but there are people that think they can just say anything to anybody and it's okay. It's okay, and it isn't.
I say anything to anybody when it's moved from my heart or based in love.
Right, but not in a way that's hurtful and painful.
Hell
no, but people do that.
Yeah.
All the time.
When people are feeling bad, they want others to feel bad.
But see, the people that are feeling bad don't realize they're feeling bad.
Yeah.
So then they project it onto the other person.
Yeah, and they make everyone else bad and wrong. And
right.
No one else is living their life right.
Right.
Which means that they are so unhappy with the choices they've made or where they are.
Right.
And usually they're drunk or on some sort of anti-anxiety or heavy or, you know what I mean? Kind of bogged down from what they're holding and trying to project on other people.
Yeah, just...
I'm always like, when someone judges me for something, I'm like, wow, I would never even think about anything about your life that way. You know what I mean? I'm just doing me as much as I can get on my time on the planet and enjoying every freaking minute. But when someone's judging me, I'm like, you need to get a hobby. You need to find something to fill yourself that you're not looking at my Instagram pictures and sending me mean comments.
I mean, why does anybody that you really don't, that's not really within your little group, really care what you do, what you say? Because it's your life.
Yeah. Why would anybody in my little circle, in my group, care what I do or say?
Only if it was...
Unless I was being destructive and they were worried about me.
Yes. But why would people just look at other people or see other people or read something about somebody and they make a judgment? They don't know anything about anything
I made a judgment about you when I first saw you.
Was it bad?
Not bad. It was more just like, wow. No, because I was coming out of the plastic surgeon's office and you were going in. It was more about that. Like, girl's got her plastic surgery on. Like, I was thinking that because we didn't talk but 4 minutes in passing.
Yeah.
But I meet you and you're beautiful and confident and open and really a really amazing person.
Thank you.
Yeah. And when you said I'm coming to your podcast, and thank you, by the way, because you got shuffled around.
I know.
And the truth of that is I didn't really know you or why we were talking. And then somebody who's like, I knew or said, can I please have that date? I would just go, bump that. Carol lady, I don't really know her. And then it was your time today.
Yes.
And I'm happy that it happened that way because I'm happy to talk to you right now, right here at this time.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. And you're delightful.
Thank you.
And you are completely open.
I am.
That's so beautiful.
I am. I'm open to almost anything. I really am. Because if you don't try things, how do you know?
If you don't try things, how do you know?
Right.
Because it's usually good shit that comes out from trying things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have to wind down now. So do you want to tell them anything like, okay, we told them to say, you want to say your Instagram again?
My Instagram is my last name, Varon, Varon, Carol, Carol. And
anything else you want to check out? Follow her on Instagram.
Yeah. No.
If you think she's cute, I think you can send her private messages and she'll probably respond because she's going to Canada from Instagram.
You know what? You can just, if you see me walking around, you can just come up and say hi. I would like that.
That's a nice, innocent start.
Yeah.
I want you to come to my workshop if you're in town in October.
Okay.
October 18th. And I'm going to put a link on my thing. I shouldn't say that because I don't know when this is going to air. Is it going to be before October 18th? We don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay, so we'll scratch that.
I think it'll be like early November.
So instead of that,
early November. I mean, people aren't going to see my beautiful face till early November.
It's just a month away, Fox. So anyway, I'm so happy that you were here. You got my nice little run with my compliments.
Yes.
You guys make sure if you're listening or watching on YouTube to subscribe so you don't miss more of me and that. Look at that right there. Thank you so much for coming, Carol.
Thank you for having me.
Would you like to hug?
Sure.
Okay.
I loved hug.
I do too. I love the hug. I love it. Oh, and you're barefoot. I put on some high shoes.
I'm barefoot.
I know.
Mwah.